back in the kitchen. Titus cooks. It's a Thursday, and guess what? No school tomorrow. Incredible. I don't know why. I haven't been able to track down anybody who knows why we don't have school tomorrow, but I'm not arguing. 3-day weekend. I've been calling it a 4-day weekend, but I was sadly mistaken. It's a 3-day weekend, so you won't see me until next week. All right, let's get started. Making enchiladas today. I always say it's really easy when I make things, so I'm going to say these are so difficult to make, but on the scale of difficult most to difficult least, they're so easy to make. They're the least difficult. No, they're fun to make. We like to make the sauce too. I don't want to buy the sauce. I want to make it. So we're going to get started with that. So I've got some oil. We're going to put in and whenever I make it, I double the recipe because it's nice to have the enchilada sauce around. You can use it on other things besides enchilada. You can use it as like a salsa. You can use it as put it on steaks or seafood, anything like that. So keep some extra around. So I'm going to start with 6 tablespoons of oil, and then we'll grab what we're making is a roux. Oh, come on, my flour. So we're going to do equal amount of flour. So about 6 tablespoons of oil. We're going to add about 6 tablespoons of flour, maybe a little bit more. So then what we want to do is I want that roux to start getting a little bit brown. It's going to give us really nice, nutty flavor to our enchiladas. So we'll get it nice and warm. I had the pan already warm, which is a good start. And while that's going, I'm going to add into it some seasoning. So I'll do about 2 teaspoons of cumin. So 2 teaspoons is 2/3 of a tablespoon. And let's see what else. We're going to put in some garlic, granulated garlic. I'll put in about 1 teaspoon of that. So that's 1/3 of a tablespoon. Let's get some chili powder. That's good chili powder. And we're going to go, how much? Let's do about 2 teaspoons of that, maybe a little bit more. Give it a little more color, that red color, that enchilada color. All right, and oregano. I got some dried oregano. Let's do about whoa, not that much. Let's do about 1/2 teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon. Let's put it all in there and let's stir it up. Let's keep this going. It's looking good. Everything mixing in. It's a good color. It smells really good too. I won't put any salt and pepper yet. I'll wait a little bit for my salt and pepper so I can season it later. I'm going to add a little bit of tomato paste. So tomato paste, as you all know, I know you know this, that if you open up a can of it, you're not going to use it all. So we get a bigger can when we buy it, and then we put it in smaller containers and freeze them. And every time you need it, you pull it out, you cut off a little bit, you put it in the microwave, it's all ready to go. So you don't have a bunch of tomato puree sitting around in your refrigerator. I know growing up we always did. We had an open can with a jagged lid sitting in our refrigerator. No one ever knew how long it had been there, where it'd come from, what we'd used it for, but it was there. Okay, so we got a nice, look at that in there. Look at those bubbles going on. That means it's hot. Lee, do not put your finger in there. And now I'm going to add us, I have some vegetable stock, so I'm going to put in about 4 cups. And what's going to happen to that is it's going to start thickening. It's going to get thicker. It's not an emulsification, it's a roux. And that roux just goes straight ahead and thickens up. Once it gets hot, once that stock gets hot, it's gets that really good flavor in it. Hello, Allison. I'm going to add a little bit of apple cider vinegar to this. Let's do maybe about a tablespoon. And that will kind of finish off our segment of enchilada sauce. See how easy that was? Enchilada sauce equals easy. So quickly, we keep stirring it every now and then. Make sure the fire's not too hot. We can turn away from it. We don't have to pay attention to it the whole time. Next thing, we're going to make our enchiladas. So I've got this pan. Today we're going to make them with flour tortillas. You can make them with corn tortillas, but we're going to do flour. And so I have these corn tortillas that are a little bit bigger than that pan. So what I did, I'm going to cut off a little bit of each end. I think we can get like 4 of them in here. All right, so let me grab that knife of mine. And how do we do that? Look at there. Just like that. You just mark it and you cut. Save these, eat those later, put them in your compost. There's all kinds of things to do with it. Okay, my sauce is not quite hot enough yet, but that's okay because by sheer magic of television, what happened was earlier, I made some. And I knew I'd need it. So this worked out perfect. So we can all say, good job, chef. Everybody, come on, nobody said it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put some of this sauce down on this pan. And you're wondering, why is he putting it on the pan? He's trying to make these enchiladas. That's a good question. I'm glad you all asked. So what we're going to do, spread it around a bit. And look, we throw our tortilla on it, both sides. What the heck's that? Is that a microwave? We don't use microwaves in this kitchen. I don't know what's going on. All right, I got a little more than I wanted on there. And so this one, you can do all kinds of fillings. You can do chicken. You can do a bean filling. You can do a beef filling. No, not me. Look what I'm doing. Anybody notice? That's pork. So it's like pork carnitas, but I made it started out as pork, pulled pork. But we are going to use it and make enchiladas with pulled pork. You don't have to do traditional. You can go outside, okay? And we just roll those up almost like a burrito. That end of it, you'll just make sure that part goes down below. Oh, I forgot to do one thing. A little bit of oil in there so it doesn't stick. So you want whatever part, the flap, you want that to go on the bottom so it doesn't come unrolled while you're doing this. Okay, so let's move this here. I bet we can get 4 of them. Look at that. That fits perfect. So what happens, somebody's trying to call me. Look at that. I'll call you back. Okay, so let's go with this. Let's put one here, another one. We'll get some of that pulled pork. Look at this. Notice the pulled pork in these small bags. So what we do when we do a large shoulder or butt of pork, we always usually have some left over, and so I break it down into smaller bags. I mark what it is, pulled pork. I put the date, when in the freezer, or if you just keep it in the refrigerator, and you're all good to go. And that way, next year when you pull this weird-looking bag out of the freezer, you can read what it is. All right, so that's the magic of marking what things are when they're in the refrigerator. If you're at home and you happen to, and the health inspector wanders into your house for some reason, first of all, call the police because he's not supposed to be there. And second of all, if he says, how come nothing in your refrigerator is marked, you can tell him, because I forgot to do it, sir. He's a compliance officer. Don't ever get in with the compliance officers. I had a little to do with a compliance officer lately. That's actually what they call him, a compliance officer. It's a tough story, but I lived through it. Okay, there we go. A little more. Let's get a little more of that pork. All right. Looky there. A little more cheese. We're almost done with this, so fear not. You're not going to be watching the enchilada show all afternoon or all morning or all, if you're up late, watching TV, watching infomercials. I think that might be the saddest thing about television is I don't watch it anymore and I don't get to watch infomercials, which was probably the greatest joy of my life growing up. I love weird things like that. Okay, there we go. One last roll up. See, your fingers are going to get kind of messy, so wear gloves if you want, or make sure you're close to a sink, which I am. I'm going to wander over there. See if the cameraman can keep up with me. Oh yeah, looky there. Get out of the way, gentlemen. All right, let's just rinse off a little bit of that. And if you ever get a chance, get one of these sinks at home. It turns on with your knee. That is handy. Oh boy. Okay, so now what we'll do is our sauce has cooked all the way. Nice, see how nicely thickened up? That's what the roux did. And we're going to just pour some over the top. We don't want to soak it. I mean, we don't want to like bury it in it, but we want to make sure we get enough there on top. That looks good. And then we'll add a little more cheese on top. We'll get some of this shredded, it's actually called Mexican style blend. So I'm Authentico. Okay, a little bit of that. We'll do some of our queso blanco, which for those not in the know, that means white cheese. It's a Mexican style cheese also. Gives a nice finish. Once it comes out of the oven, well, we'll do it now. We'll see how they look. We're going to throw on a little bit of cilantro. Give it that cilantro-esque flavor look. Then I'm going to have my bearded assistant, Mr. Eric Link. No, I'll just do it myself because I've got to grab something out of the oven. So look at that. So when these cook, they're going to be all done, nicely browned up. And then, instead of having, if we had done smaller ones, we would have had 8. But so then you can just cut right down the middle. Or you could cut it in a third. So it's up to you. If you feel like it's going to spill over, put it on a sheet pan to put it in the oven. I just did my walk of shame. So this is the one we already did. And you can see, I told you to put queso blanco on it, which I didn't do on this one, but we'll sprinkle that on now. And that will melt, because these are really pretty toasty as they are. And then we'll get a little more of that cilantro. And we'll dice that up, chop it up. Remember, leave that stem on there. I am a firm believer in using cilantro stems. And you're good. Look how good those look, huh? What do you guys think? Anybody thumbs up, thumbs down? Any thoughts? Any feelings? Any emotions? Nothing. Okay, and like I said, if you wanted to, now you just cut through this way. And then instead of having 4 enchiladas, now you got 8. It's the same thing as if you don't get tested. Never mind. Political. Stay out of it, Kitus. Now, pulled pork. Oh, so good. That's going to be a good enchilada, Mrs. Lada. So that's it. Simple. That enchilada sauce. Now save that. You'll have it in your refrigerator. Use it on meats, chickens, fish, whatever you want. Eat these. Make them. You can break them down and freeze them. So if you have some left over, maybe put 2 of those in a container, 2 in another. So you have them, you pull them out, you have individual servings. That's the bachelor lifestyle right there. So get in that kitchen, sharpen those knives, send me letters, send me emails. I had a nice letter from a woman from Oaxaca, and she said, it's not burro, it's burro. 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 Anybody? Burro. I can't do it. So, and enjoy cooking, because I love to cook. This is fun. I've got a whole kitchen. I almost dropped the F-bomb there. I got a whole kitchen full of kids cooking. That was close. All right, that's it. Bon appetit. And that's a wrap.